get us started. Erin, you look like you're driving. Would you,
I'm driving. I've
yes.
got lots of children in here. So when I need to vote, I will unmute myself.
Okay, thank you.
Ryan's running the meeting.
It is 7:34 a.m. Calling the meeting to order. If we do a roll call, please. This is Brian, GC member. I'm present.
This is
This is
Aaron,
Rainey.
GC. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Rainey.
This is Rainey, GC member present.
This is Aaron, GC member present.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, Governing Council Administrative Discussion and Action Items. 3.1, Discussion and Action Item, Recommendation to approve the agenda for the April 21st, 2025 special meeting.
This is Rainey. I make a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting.
This is Aaron. I approve.
Brady, did you say minutes or agenda?
Agenda, sorry.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. This is Brian, a roll call vote. This is Brian, I approve.
This
This
is
is
Aaron.
Rainey,
I
I
approve.
approve.
This is Aaron. I approve.
Motion passes. Item 3.2, a recommendation to approve the minutes from the April 10th, 2025 regular meeting.
Aaron, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 10th.
This is Rainey, I second.
Roll call vote. This is Brian, I approve.
This is Aaron. I approve.
This is Rainey, I approve.
And the motion passes. Item number 4, public comment. Do we have anyone online or in the chat who would like to provide public comment this morning?
No one in the chat.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 5, Finance Committee. Item 5.1, a presentation on the 2025-2026 school year budgets.
So, Lori, do you want to do this or you want me to? It was a chaotic year.
So I have it up if you want me to share that so you can look at it well.
Well, this is the budget, but I'm thinking that we're probably kind of just giving an overview of the process and where we are.
I'll jump in for 1 second. So I think everyone here has heard the presentation that was given at the last governing council meeting. Not much has changed from that point. We did get our at-risk index from the state. We did not get an actual statement of revenues, a 910B5. Instead, the state had us estimate our own revenues based on the information we were provided. That document is in the meeting materials, and Mary and Elizabeth completed that. So just making you aware that, we'll be submitting a budget based on the estimated revenues, and at some point the state will come back and say, yes, you estimated correctly, or no, we think you need to make an adjustment. Mary, what would you like to add?
I think that's the biggest information that I just wanted to make sure we got on the table. We have prepared the budget based on information we received from staff and parents. We are also, as much as possible, we prepared the budget to include staff that may no longer be covered by grants that are expiring. And we have gotten notification that we will probably get a couple grants, but those people are still in the operational, which gives us a little bit of wiggle room if those grants are actually officially rewarded. We just wanted to try and make sure we could budget the especially direct instruction intervention people that are currently on site and are serving students. any questions about that, the situation that we've discussed so far? Okay, then I think actually the first thing that we're going to discuss, I guess that takes care of 5.1, Brian.
Okay. Item 5.2, a recommendation to approve Mount Mahogany Community School salary schedules for the 2025-2026 school year.
So the statute that was signed by the governor raised minimum salaries for all staff to a minimum of 55 for level 1, 65 for level 2, and 75 for level 3. We have traditionally been higher than what the minimums were. And so what we did was we took our salary schedule for 24-25, this year's schedule, and we took those baselines and we increased it 4%, which was also a minimum salary increase that was required under statute. And so the salary schedule we are presenting you starts higher than the 55, 65, and 75. And that's because we just took ours and upped it the 4% required salary increase. And so our salary schedules have both an annual salary and a daily rate. And the reason we do daily rate is so many people have so many different days in contracts. It makes looking at your total salary schedule difficult for people to compare from employer to employer. And so when you take it down to a daily rate, it's very easy for people and our staff to talk to people about what the salaries mean compared from Mount Mahogany to say, let's say APS, because at least you're getting it to a common denominator that makes the decision-making process easier. The salary schedules cover teachers, counselors, and nurses. Nurses this year were required to be on salary schedules with teachers to make sure that they were getting paid adequate monies. Just so you know, our nurse is already higher than most of these salary schedules where she is on level. School nurses are hard to come by. The national board certification that's on the salary schedule doesn't say specifically for teachers, because 2 years ago they changed the law so that national board certification could be for teachers or support. And this year they added a national board certification for school nurses. And so we've made it more general. The payment is the same. It's basically 1.5 units. Now, when we tell you, a unit is $4,800, then you take 4,800 times 1.5, and that's what that person will get in a single payment in recognition for that national board certification. We also tried to clarify the merits for additional licenses and endorsements, trying to make it more clear as to what our accomplishment was. Lori and I were on the phone last night trying to tweak the language. And I apologize. I had done some hikes at the top of the crest yesterday. So I was on my downward spiral to bed. So I'm not sure how coherent I was, but we tried. The rest of the salary schedule is basically the same as we've had. A lot of the salary schedule is required so that if they come and audit our teacher cost index, all the items are on the salary schedule that they want to see, including like how you award years of experience and credit hours, etc. So the salary schedule has level 1, level 2, level 3, and then also our EAs. And our EAs have also been bumped up by the 4%. And so the EAs have to be paid at least 25. And so we actually pay a little bit more about 2,600 is our beginning salaries for educational assistants. Any questions on the salary schedule? If there are no questions, then we would request approval of the fiscal 26 salary schedules as presented.
This is Erin. I'll make a motion to approve the salary schedules as presented.
This is Rainey. I second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Erin. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And the motion passes. Item 5.3, a recommendation to approve Mount Mahogany Community School calendar for the 2025-2026 school year for submission to APS and PED.
This is Lori. There is a calendar uploaded. It is almost identical to the version that you approved in order for us to get it to APS and get the schedule loaded for the next year. One change is that after that calendar was approved, the state sent out guidance saying that registration or orientation days could not be counted as an instructional day or instructional hours. So we had previously planned to count, I believe it was August 1st as a half day for that purpose. We will still have in-person registration and orientation, but we just will be calling it teacher work hours instead. And then also in October on I believe it's the 10th. Previously that was just a teacher work day. In order to make the number of days match, we're also going to call that an asynchronous learning day for students, or just a remote learning day. Sorry, apologies. So those are the only changes. I've gone ahead, I haven't filled out the calendar module in OBMS yet, but I have used the calendar tool for the state. It matches what Mary has in her budget, which is important because, as you guys now know, calendar days generate funding units. So at this point, I request approval of the calendar for the 25-26 school year.
This is Erin. I make a motion to approve the school calendar for the 2025-2026 school year.
This is Rainey. I second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Erin. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And the motion passes. Item 5.4, a recommendation to approve Mount Mahogany Community School budget for the 2025-2026 school year for submission to APS and PED.
So this is Mary again. The budget that we're proposing is up on the website. We have an average of our 80 and 120 day is what our budget is calculated on. It's 227 students. Our SEG, less the 2% that we remit to or APS withholds, is $3,536,367. That again is being calculated by us because I don't know when we're going to see our 910B5 as issued by the state, which is their official. After they told us to go ahead and do our own, I requested that they send us the factors that they need to provide to us in order to calculate it. And they did so that we could actually come up with this estimate. We also are budgeting interest at $970. We do that so that we don't have to bring to you all every quarter additional revenue related to interest, because otherwise we'd be coming about 4 times a year to say, oh, we added another $200 of interest, so we need you to approve it. They are now allowing us to budget interest. We are estimating, or we are budgeting only $75,000 of cash balance. I am a big proponent, and so you are subjected to my conservative budgeting philosophy, which is I do not budget total cash balance that we think we're going to have. Right now we have, I just finished another school. about $360,000. And I really like to keep as much of that as possible off the table so that it doesn't accidentally get spent. It is there if we need it. Cash balance cannot be spent on ongoing reoccurring expenses. So, you cannot fund teacher salaries with cash balance because of the sustainability situation. So we only budget $75,000. It kind of keeps everything else in the pocket. And if we need it, we can bring it in, but it would be an actual GC, we need cash balance for this. And so from a oversight and a just financial conservative process, that's kind of where I stand on cash balance. Somebody else might come in and say, you should budget all $360,000. And yeah, that's what they would do. And that's your choice. Direct instruction, the teachers are, we kind of group teachers so that we have such a small staff that folks could potentially see individual teacher salary. And although that is public information, we don't tend to put it out. So teachers regular education would include kinders and 1 through 8. Teacher special education is really teachers education, and we're proposing 4.75 teachers for special education. And then EAs and specialists. So we have a couple interventionists that were grant funded, and we've pulled them into this line item so that we can make sure that those services continue. And then we have subs and other earnings. That includes our substitute, one of our teachers who is on a sublicense. From a PED rules, if you have people on either a subpool or on a sublicense, you do not count their FTE. And so that's why you'll see this. The benefits include, Elizabeth, help me with this, 6% increase for medical insurance, 5% increase for dental, I believe. And those are the only increases. From a employee standpoint, our risk insurance is going up 16%, which would include workers' comp and basically property liability. That's a little farther down. So direct instruction also has other employee benefit or purchase services, testing. It includes software, textbooks, and instructional materials and general supplies for a total of $2.2 million. The instructional 2100 and 2200 talks about who all that is. Excuse me. And again, we have 8.41 FTE in that. Most of that is as listed. Most of our ancillary services are employees. Their benefits, ancillary services, and PD in this case is more of the occasional ancillary services that aren't really high FTE. So a school psych, trying to think what else we had in there, but very small needs as far as what we have in IEPs. And then again, software and general supplies. The one person we can't hide is your director, who's in the next section called administration. This is Lori, and her benefits. And then the purchase services we've listed, it's, the audit, and it's the legal, and it's the employee assistance program, and then PD for GC. The business department is Elizabeth. Sorry, we can't hide her either. All the purchase services are copiers and bank and myself and other things. And then software are more general software that the whole school would use. And then supplies for copier, non-direct supplies. And then your operations for plant, utilities and cleaning, and of course your insurance and your inspections and your cleaning services and custodial supplies have continued to climb. And so we have had to up that in more recent years. At the bottom, it tells you each of those areas and what the percentage is. And one of the things that APS and most everyone want to see is that the total of direct instruction and instructional support is at least 75%, and you are sitting at about 83%. Any questions? Just for your information, if you go farther down on pages 3 and 4, you'll also see what we will be what we will be inputting for other funds. For example, cafeteria, universal, which is meals, which is the state payment of meals not covered by USDA. You'll see our student activities. You see we are estimating IDEA-B is estimated at 120,000. Pre-K special education is estimated at 800. Those have increased a little because our number of special education students continues to increase. Title II will have Medicaid. We have Ed Fellows, which we have been indicated that we will have. So this covers 2 EAs. Our funding for donations for us, and then out of school learning, which is our Awesome Hour. We've heard it's out there, so we've applied for it. The high dosage tutoring, although there's an interventionist in here that we have applied for, that person has also been budgeted in total up and operational. And then our House Bill 33 continues to grow. We estimate that we'll have about $814,000 to spend, and that will be our amount of estimated cash balance at the end of the year. And also SB 107, the SB 9 local is also growing, which is nice. It had gotten really low, and we've been trying to get it built up a little bit more. And then we occasionally get Senate Bill 9 state match. And although I think we'll have it spent up, I'm estimating 2,700 just in case. It's in the budget if we don't spend it all. So those are more for informational purposes. Today, what you'll be approving is the operational budget as presented for submission to PED and APS. Any questions?
Mary, I have a question.
Sure, sir.
On that last page, when you were going through HB 33, SB 9, 31701, is that SB 9? I thought you mentioned
That's
it.
local. So
Okay.
there's two SB 9s. One is 31701, which is the local portion we get from our local property taxes. And then 31703 is what the state matches.
Great. And
Any
I guess
other questions?
yeah,
Go
my
ahead.
only other question, and I don't know if it's related to the budget that's in front of us. Do we, for that 2% that APS takes, do we have a list of
What they spend it?
services that the district provides as our authorizer?
They have a document that I'm not sure if they've ever shared it, but they say they have one because they have to give it to PED. And part of our 2% goes to, of course, the charter school office that they have there and the charter school direct supports. But they also indicate that part of their procurement department and part of their, obviously their grant people, although the grants are paid for by indirect costs from the grant itself. But they kind of allocate a portion of almost all of their departments to that 2%.
What prompted the question as you were going through operational and talking about software, the first thing that came to mind was Synergy. So do we pay?
No.
Okay.
We do not pay for Synergy, and that's part of the 2%. There is there was a law passed and signed this year to provide $1 million to investigate, and I believe it's probably more than investigate. I think it's going to be starting of implementation of a statewide SIS system that PED will run and all of the schools will be required to use.
Oh, it's not $1 million, it's $12 million.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, 12 million.
And
Yes.
it's not investigate, it's procure and implement.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is a lot of consternation, especially because of the problems that have occurred with Nova.
Among
So,
other challenges, yes.
yes.
Mary, those are all of my questions. Are there any other questions from the GC? Hearing none, I am happy to accept a motion on 5.4 to approve the budget.
This is Aaron. I make a motion to approve the operational budget for the 2025-2026 school year.
This is Rainey. I second.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Aaron. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
The motion passes.
So before we move on, you will all be getting very shortly something called a 901B10, which is you'll need to sign that says that you have approved the budget, because we have to turn that into APS in order to complete the budget process. So Elizabeth will be sending that out through ShareFile to have you electronically sign that document.
Okay. Do you think that'll be sometime today?
Oh yeah, probably. You'll probably be seeing it, Elizabeth. I think it's ready. It's probably going to be sent in the next 30 minutes. Yes?
Okay. Thank you for the heads up.
Yes, I will do my best.
Item 5.5, a recommendation to approve bar 25-37.
So I think I'm going to take this one because this is this has been a very interesting situation. So in August, after we finished our budget, in August, you all were presented with an increased bar of about $236,000. And we kind of were a little confused by it, but they had kind of messed up our calendar days. And they said, this is to fix our miscalculation on the calendar days. And I think both, all three of us, Lori, Elizabeth, and I scratched our head and kind of went, this is really high for what we thought your error was. But, you know, PED is the official people. And so they, of course, know what they're doing. So we asked you and you approved an increase of about $236,000. In January, they came back and they said, oh, well, we counted your sixth graders as if it was all of K through 6 by
K through 5.
population.
Yep.
By students. And so we have to take $236,000 back. And when we had originally did it and talked to you all, we said that we were going to pretty much protect this in a little hole because we really didn't think it was real. And I guess the good news is we put it in a little hole and kept it safe because it wasn't real. And so in January, they came back and said, oh, we're taking that money back again because we really didn't mean to give it to you. So this budget does that. If you were to look at your, so we had originally put the new money in as salaries, and we just kind of put some high salaries in there and then put the rest in ancillary services. This is pulling down the salaries that we added higher than we needed, and is also reducing some of the ancillary services in order to take care of the situation. For example, we have no social workers that are contracted. They're all employees. So that's why that's zeroed out. And then also the at risk we zeroed out. And then the special education, again, we have that person for the most part on site. So we've pulled all those down to what we actually believe we're going to spend. And then we needed about 4,000, so we used it for maintenance and operations. So this is the bar that we're presenting to you. They wanted it done by the end of April, even though they actually didn't send it out I mean, they sent it, they told us, but we needed an official letter. So we've been waiting 2 months for that official letter. So they sent it out on April 7th and wanted everybody to get it in by April 30th. So any questions that I can answer on this bar?
Mary, is it an accurate statement that because this money was squirreled away in the proverbial hole, that this is not something that should be alarming to us?
Correct. We didn't think it was real, so we put it in places that we knew we were cushioning it, so that when we came back to you and said, okay, they want it back now, that we would, it would not affect operations, nor would it affect our expenditures.
Well, thank you for looking ahead and expressing caution. I just find it really frustrating that PED has done this, and I just worry about other schools that may have not had the foresight to put the money aside thinking it wasn't real.
Yes. I would concur with that. And it is always concerning. You know, PED has a very special job. And so when they are making more mistakes than they've ever actually done before, and it's because they're low on staff, and so they're doing things quickly, and so I think they have they're just struggling to have a second set of eyes on things, and so there are more errors that are happening, and so I just you know, we just have to keep tracking and try and be conservative, which is also the reason why I keep that, you know, $300,000 squirreled away where they can't see that we've budgeted, just in case something happens.
Thanks, Mary. Are there any other questions regarding the bar for Mary? Hearing none, I'm happy to accept a motion on item 5.5.
This is Aaron. I make a motion on bar, whatever the number is. What's the number?
This is Rainey.
25-37.
Make a motion to approve 25-37.
This is Rainey. I second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Aaron. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
And the motion passes. And we have made it to item number 6, which is adjournment. And I am happy to accept a motion for adjournment.
This is Aaron. I make a motion to adjourn.
This is Rainey. I second.
Roll call vote. This is Brian. I approve.
This is Aaron. I approve.
This is Rainey. I approve.
The motion passes and the meeting adjourns at 8:07 a.m. And it looks like